Before you move on, stop for a moment and feel this with your whole heart. This message is not reaching you by mistake. There is a reason you clicked now, a reason your eyes landed here at this exact time, because something inside you has been asking one question again and again in silence. Is this love real? Is this person truly feeling what I feel, or am I only holding on to a beautiful illusion because I want it to be true? Stay with me, because what you are about to hear may settle something that has been restless inside you for a long time. There is one undeniable sign that gives this truth away, and once you understand it, so many confusing moments will begin to make sense. The silence, the distance, the mixed signals, the strange pull you cannot shake. None of it is random, none of it came to torture you, and none of it means this bond is empty. In fact, the very thing that made you doubt may be the proof you have been searching for, so listen closely. Do not rush this. Because the next few minutes may change the way you see this person, this connection, and even yourself. And by the end, you may finally understand why your heart has refused to let this go, even when your mind tried again and again to walk away. You are here because part of you already knows something important. Deep down, beneath the fear, beneath the questions, beneath the nights when your thoughts would not let you rest, there has always been a quiet knowing. You have felt a link with this person that goes beyond easy words. It is not simple attraction. It is not ordinary curiosity. It is not one of those weak feelings that disappear after a few days of silence. It has stayed. It has returned. It has lived in your chest with a strange strength, even when you told yourself to be realistic, to stop hoping, to stop reading meaning into every look and every shift in energy. But some truths do not leave just because you try to ignore them. Some truths remain because they are real. And what you have been feeling may be one of them. This is not about fantasy. This is not about making yourself believe something that is not there. It is about finally seeing what has been present all along. Even if this person has become quieter, even if they have seemed colder, even if their actions have confused you, love does not always arrive in perfect words. Sometimes real feeling shows up first as tension, silence, hesitation, and a powerful emotional pull that neither person fully understands at the beginning. Keep listening, because the part you may have called the problem could actually be the clearest sign. There are moments in life when the heart feels full and uncertain at the same time. You feel something powerful, yet you cannot hold it in your hands. You cannot prove it in a simple way. That is what makes this kind of connection so difficult. Your soul feels it before your mind can explain it. And when the mind cannot explain something, it often attacks it. It calls it confusion. It calls it weakness. It calls it obsession. It asks why you still care, why you still feel this pull, why you cannot close the door and be done with it. But the truth is, what keeps returning usually deserves attention. If this person meant nothing, your heart would have settled by now. If the bond was empty, it would have faded on its own. Yet something continues to bring your thoughts back. Something gentle but strong keeps pulling you inward, back to this question, back to this connection, back to the feeling that there is more happening here than the outside world can see. And that is exactly why this matters. Real love, especially in the beginning, does not always look polished and clear. Often it arrives in a rougher form. It shakes old wounds, it wakes up fear, it stirs the places inside you that were sleeping. It asks you to feel more than you planned to feel, and because of that, your first reaction may not be trust. It may be panic, it may be doubt, it may be the urge to run before something beautiful gets the chance to become real. The strongest sign this person's love is real is not found only in sweet words, grand gestures, or perfect timing. It is found in the way this connection keeps affecting both of you, even through silence. That is the sign. Silence that still feels full. Distance that still feels alive. A pause that somehow carries more weight than many spoken promises. With anyone else, silence would feel empty. It would feel like disinterest. It would feel like the end. But with this person, silence has felt different, heavy, charged, meaningful, almost as if something is still being said even when no words are spoken. That kind of silence does not appear in shallow connections. It appears when feelings are deep but not yet fully processed, when emotions are real but still too intense to express clearly. This is why you still feel them. This is why their absence does not feel like nothing. This is why, even when you try to move on, something in you says, wait, there is still more here, and stay with me, because this next part matters deeply. Sometimes people become quiet not because they do not care, but because they care so much that the feeling overwhelms them. Your presence may awaken something in them that is beautiful, but also frightening. Something they did not expect. Something they are still learning how to hold. That does not make the love less real. In many cases, it makes it more real than either of you were prepared for. What you are feeling is also connected to an inner battle that has likely been happening inside you for a long time. One part of you knows. One part of you fears. One part feels calm when it thinks of this person in a deep, quiet way. Another part becomes anxious, restless, and desperate for proof. These are not the same voice. The anxious voice is shaped by old pain. It remembers betrayal, delay, rejection, being overlooked, being left wondering where you stand. It wants to protect you before anything can hurt you again, so it tells you to doubt. It tells you to assume the worst. It tells you that if this person is not saying everything clearly right now, then nothing is real. But the deeper voice inside you feels different. It is softer. It does not scream. It does not rush. It simply keeps returning with the same quiet truth. There is something here. Pay attention. And that difference matters. Fear feels urgent and draining. Truth feels steady, even when it is painful. Fear makes you chase certainty in circles. Truth remains in your chest like a calm fire that does not go out. If you have felt both chaos and peace around this connection, that is why. Your old wounds are reacting, but your deeper self still recognizes something real. Do not skip over that. Because once you learn to tell the difference between panic and intuition, the whole story begins to change. You stop asking only, "Do they love me?" And you start asking the better question, what in me is afraid to receive a love that feels this deep? Many times when true feeling enters your life, it does not come only to comfort you. It comes to transform you. It shows you where you still do not trust. It reveals where you still expect loss. It uncovers the old story that says love must always be unstable, incomplete, or painful. That is why this bond may have shaken you so much. Not because it is wrong, but because it touched places that had never fully healed. This person may have looked at you with a softness they could not hide. They may have spoken to you with unusual care. They may have remembered things about you that others missed. They may have seemed deeply drawn in one moment and then strangely distant in the next. And those mixed actions may have made you think they were unsure. But it may be the opposite. It may be that the feeling became too strong to manage easily. People do not always pull away because they feel nothing. Sometimes they pull away because they feel too much. Sometimes distance is not rejection. Sometimes it is self-protection. Sometimes it is a pause while the heart tries to understand what just happened to it. If this person awakened something powerful in you, it is possible you awakened the same in them. They may see in you something honest, something rare, something emotionally deep, and that can be beautiful while also being terrifying to a person who is not used to this level of connection. So do not rush to label every silence as lack of love. Some silences are full of love that has not yet found its language. This is where many people fall into the same painful cycle. One person feels the distance and starts reaching, explaining, proving, pushing, trying to fix what feels uncertain. The other person feels the pressure and retreats even more. Then the gap grows. The fear grows. The questions grow. And both hearts end up reacting from pain instead of truth. If that has happened here, it does not mean the bond is false. It means both of you may still be learning how to hold it. One of the hardest lessons in a connection like this is learning that chasing does not create safety. It usually creates more fear. Real closeness does not come from forcing clarity before the other person is ready. It comes from inner steadiness, from choosing yourself, from coming back to your own peace. This does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop abandoning yourself in order to feel chosen. And when you do that, something important changes in the energy. The pressure drops. The panic softens. The bond has room to breathe. Do not miss this part. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for a connection is stop trying to control it every minute. Stop checking, stop chasing, stop feeding the fear, and start becoming grounded in your own worth. Because when your energy says, I am whole, I am steady, I do not need to beg for what is meant for me, the entire dynamic begins to shift. Love responds to peace much more than it responds to panic. And that may be exactly the doorway this connection has been asking you to walk through. If the distance has been painful, I know part of you may want a clear reason for every moment of it. You want to know why they went quiet, why they seemed to pull back, why their feelings felt present one day and hard to read the next. But human hearts are rarely that simple. Deep bonds can stir up everything at once: longing, fear, hope, doubt, excitement, insecurity. A person can deeply love what they are not yet ready to fully face. They can care and still hesitate. They can feel drawn in and still become overwhelmed by the intensity. That is why the distance should not always be read as the final answer. Sometimes it is the place where both people are being changed. Sometimes the pause is preparing the ground for something more honest later. Sometimes what feels like delay is actually refinement. Your task right now is not to solve every silence with your mind. Your task is to become stronger inside yourself while the bigger picture unfolds. Let this season teach you patience. Let it teach you trust. Let it teach you how to remain open without collapsing. Let it teach you how to love without losing your center. Because if this bond is meant to deepen, it cannot be built on fear, need, and emotional chasing. It must be built on two people becoming more honest, more healed, and more able to choose each other without pressure. That is why this moment matters so much. It is not empty waiting. It is preparation. And if you stay until the end of this message, the next part may help you see the quiet signs in a completely new way. Now let us talk about the subtle confirmations, because this kind of love often reveals itself in quiet ways before it ever becomes obvious. Notice how this person looks at you. Their eyes may stay on you a little too long before turning away. They may seem calm outside, yet something in their gaze feels exposed, almost as if they are trying not to reveal too much. Notice how your energy changes around them. You may feel sudden stillness, warmth in the chest, nervous peace, or a strange awareness that is hard to explain. Notice the small things, the message that seemed casual but felt deeper than the words, the way they remember details, the awkwardness that appears when emotions are strong, the silence that feels full instead of empty. These are not random if they keep repeating. Real love often begins in small patterns, in repeated attention, in energy that lingers, in emotional presence that remains even when the person is not physically near. And then there are the moments life itself seems to echo the bond. You think of them and feel a sudden wave of emotion. A song appears at the right time, a scent, a place, a phrase, a memory, and suddenly they are there again in your awareness. Call it synchronicity, call it resonance, call it a deep emotional thread, but do not dismiss it too quickly. The mind wants solid proof. The heart notices subtler truth. And when the same signs continue to return, they deserve your attention. Not blind belief, not fantasy, just honest attention. Because sometimes life keeps repeating a message until you finally stop calling it coincidence and start listening. You may also have felt this person in dreams, in sudden thoughts, or in those strange moments when their name arrives in your mind for no clear reason. Maybe you woke up with their energy already around you. Maybe you felt calm at an odd hour and later found out they had been thinking of you. Maybe you experienced sudden heaviness or warmth in your chest, and it did not feel connected to anything happening around you in that moment. These experiences can be easy to dismiss, especially if you are afraid of looking foolish or hoping too much. But emotional connection often moves in ways language cannot fully explain. When two people affect each other deeply, the bond does not disappear just because a message was not sent that day. It can continue moving beneath the surface. That is why the clearest proof may not be outside of you at first. It may be in the consistent way this person lives in your awareness, not as obsession, but as a presence that keeps returning with meaning. Listen carefully here. Not every repeated thought is a sign, but when the bond brings peace beneath the confusion, when it keeps returning with emotional truth instead of empty fantasy, when your deeper self recognizes something even while your fear argues with it, that is worth noticing. The soul understands many things before the mind agrees. And if this person still feels alive in your spirit despite the silence, that may be because the love between you is alive too. even if it is not yet being spoken in the form you want. Still, the most important work now is not only to read the signs, it is to clear the fear that keeps blocking your peace. Doubt is heavy. It sends out the message that love is far away, uncertain, unstable, always at risk of disappearing. Trust sends a different message. Not blind trust in fantasy, but quiet trust in what is real and unfolding. You do not need to control the timing. You do not need to force the outcome. You do not need to make this person return in the exact way your anxious mind prefers. Your work is simpler and deeper than that. Return to your own light. Heal what still believes you must chase love to keep it. Heal what still believes distance always means abandonment. Heal what still believes being chosen by another person is the same as being worthy. You were worthy before this connection entered your life, and you remain worthy whether this story moves fast, slow, or in ways you cannot yet predict. But here is the beautiful truth. The more peaceful and whole you become, the more clearly the connection can reveal its real nature. If it is true, it will strengthen in truth. If it is illusion, peace will show that too. Either way, your return to yourself is never wasted. So choose calm over panic. Choose dignity over chasing. Choose trust over constant interpretation. And if this message is landing in your heart, let that be your sign to breathe deeper, soften a little, and stop fighting the possibility that something meaningful may truly be unfolding. This phase of the journey is not the end. It is preparation. A love with this much emotional force does not enter your life only to create drama and disappear. It comes to raise your awareness. It comes to show you what still hurts. It comes to help you release old patterns, old fear, old need, old emotional survival habits that no longer fit the person you are becoming. Right now, both of you may be changing more than you realize. You are learning not to live from lack. You are learning not to beg for tiny pieces of affection. You are learning to hold your own center even while feeling deeply. And this person may be going through their own inner changes too. They may be facing fears they never named. They may be seeing their own patterns more clearly. They may be learning how to stop running from feelings that feel too powerful to control. So if things seem unfinished, do not assume nothing is happening. Some of the most important growth happens in the invisible part of the story, in the quiet, in the pause, in the private moments no one else sees. This is why you are being asked now to become conscious with your energy. Speak trust instead of doom. Speak openness instead of defeat. Speak peace instead of chasing. Because what is being built here, if it is real, is asking for a stronger foundation than fear can give. And when the time is right, what returns to you will not be weak, confused, or half-formed. It will be clearer, stronger, more honest, more able to stay. So if you have been asking for one undeniable sign that this person's love is real, here it is again, in the clearest way possible. The connection remains alive, even in silence. It still moves you. It still reaches you. It still carries weight when logic says it should have faded by now. That is not something shallow bonds can do. Real feeling leaves an imprint. Real love creates a presence that cannot be erased by one quiet season. This does not mean every silence should be romanticized, and it does not mean you should wait forever in pain. It means you should stop dismissing the depth of what your heart has truly experienced. Let this truth steady you. You are not losing your mind. You are not weak for feeling deeply. You are not foolish for recognizing that something here has touched you in an uncommon way. And if this love is truly mutual, then no distance has the power to destroy what truth keeps alive. So release the need to force it. Release the story that says you must chase to be chosen. Release the fear that tells you silence always means the end. Stand in your worth. Return to your peace. Let your heart stay open. But let it stay strong too. Because what is meant for you does not need panic to survive. It responds to clarity. It responds to wholeness. It responds to truth. And maybe that is why this message found you now, not to make you obsess more, but to help you finally understand what your soul has been trying to whisper all along. If this resonated, hold on to the calm it gave you. That calm may be the very proof you have been asking for.